What's up, guys? Asha here with the Sean Adeli Book Channel. We really need a better name for this. I do not know what I'm doing. But anyway, we have today Dark Tower Book 2, The Drawing of the Three. Now, I'll be totally honest. Book 1, not my favorite book. It was good, and people mixed reviews all over the place with these series. Like, oh, book 1 is okay. Book 1 is the best. Book 2 is great. And there's just like a whole difference between the fan base. You could obviously tell the time gap between book 1 and 2. Book 1 felt very different than book 2 all the way throughout from there on. And my thoughts were, I really loved book 2. Drawing of the Three was fantastic. I'm not much of a sci-fi reader, and this book has much more sci-fi elements, in my opinion, versus fantasy, but it's just so intriguing because it's also, I'm not a huge fan of modern books either. I prefer like a past or futuristic timeline. So the Drawing of the Three is a very unique story where, first things first, spoilers, it's book 2 if you want to review kind of a story. I'll give a quick brief one right now where this is a story of a man and his journey to the Dark Tower. That's brief, spoiler free, kind of a free one right there for you. But if you want more of an in-depth, go read book 1. I'm most likely going to have to do a series review for this book when I finish the last one, and I'm on the last book at the moment. It's kind of because it's just Stephen King. I think that's enough explanation for that. But Drawing of the Three is a very unique situation where you have Roland, who has gone through the journey. Jake has died, and he had the long conversation with the Man in Black, and it's the aftermath of that. And he loses fingers at the beginning of the story. He's very sick. He has a fever. All these things. He's like pretty much dying. And then he goes to New York into Eddie Dean, who's this heroin addict. And it's such a fun, interesting story of him like going back and forth between worlds and all these experiences. And I'm obviously getting a phone call that we're going to ignore promptly. But it's such a cool story because he's going through and you get to see the world of Eddie Dean. You have the whole plot of him trying to get rid of all the drugs while being stuck in an airplane, all these fascinating stuff. And I just thought the story was very fast-paced. It was very exciting. You have Eddie Dean, who's one of the 3 characters. You have Susanna / Odetta. And those two, kind of a split personality situation going on there. Someone who's an amputee. She doesn't have, her legs were cut off because of a psychopath by the name of Jack Mort. Had pushed her in front of a subway. Ridiculous guy. And you find out he was actually the person who killed Jake as well, which led Jake to come into Roland's world. And the whole time, this story, it's just, obviously it's insanely dark. The world is like dying in a way. And Roland is on a journey to save the world, kind of, is the idea at least that we're given. Eddie and Susanna bring a very unique twist to the story. They're very, on one side, you're dealing with Eddie, the drug addict, and he's trying to like become clean. And the sobering experience, you could tell Stephen King has an experience of talking about drugs and how to overcome and the thought processes you go through as you're trying to quit drugs, which is very interesting. And all in all, the story just has a very unique... My favorite parts of the story is when Roland he's in New York and he's at the gun store and he's like buying bullets for his guns, and he's like, 100 bullets, and he's just like mind blown about that much bullets. He's like, this is incredible. Or his like when he has like aspirin, and aspirin's like his new best friend. But it's a very interesting story. Roland is like a very unique character. He's not unlikable, but he's not exactly likable either. He's a very like almost non-human type of person. He's kind of a monster, actually, because of how heartless he is and how like almost goal-oriented he is. He's just one objective above all else, and he doesn't care about what gets in his way to get there. But you have the story unfold very slowly. You have him interact with Eddie, bring Eddie over, and then you have the interaction between him and Susanna / Odetta, and having to try to merge her personalities is what she eventually accomplishes. I very much enjoyed this book. I thought this book was better than The Gunslinger. I thought The Gunslinger was kind of, can't say boring, but it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't necessarily my favorite. It was a little bit more interesting just because of the character of Walter, and you're like, who is this guy? Like, what is the history? What is the lore? What is the background of this? And the beauty is you do get more of the background as you go through the story, and you get more of the pieces kind of falling into place. But book 2, definitely a positive installment. I know one of the booktubers that I really like, Daniel Green, wasn't big on this book and was like, this didn't have good pacing and all. I actually really enjoyed it. I had a really blast with this book, but let me know what you guys thought. What is your favorite book in the Dark Tower series? If you guys have read these books, let me know what your favorite is. I am on the final book right now, so I will be doing the reviews for all the other books in the series as well. All of them so far, very, very good, but different. If I'm going to have to put, like, I haven't finished it, obviously, so I don't know what the finality of the story is, and I know it's very controversial as well. I'm very excited to see, but at the moment, it's not Mistborn. It's not, like, Age of Madness. It's not Joe Abercrombie. It's just Stephen King, and it's phenomenal. But it's Stephen King, so it's just very, very different. It's Stephen King has a very unique ability of stretching what you expect. I'm kind of the person who always is like, oh well, this didn't make sense. This shouldn't have happened. Time travel is stupid. All these things, but Stephen King it's almost absurdism to a degree of this story, but it works. It just works, is my opinion of it. So I would highly recommend everybody to read these books so far. I've been very, very impressed with them. And I thought each installment made the story better. Each story added to the previous one. This one, and the beauty of it is, it's kind of like, the beauty of these stories, it's very much like an onion almost, it's like ogres, like the layers. Yeah. So at the beginning, you're just Roland, and Roland is this person, I guess. But you don't really see who he is. And then in this story, you get Eddie. And Eddie slowly allows Roland you see more of Roland through Eddie. And that fleshes out the character a little bit more. And then on and on, each book adds to the previous one. And it makes the story more compelling, more interesting, and the character development enhances each time, in my opinion. So, highly recommend. Definitely read these books. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part of this book and this series is. And no spoilers. And we will go from there. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.